Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's State of the Zoo-nion address, where I, IAmTheLionRider, am going to be showing you everything that's been going on in Ocean State. Because, yeah, how's everyone doing? I haven't done a live stream in a bit, and I definitely haven't been uploading Ocean State, and I really haven't been uploading much of anything lately. And hopefully today's live stream, I'm going to kind of go over everything, the reasons I haven't been uploading or, why content's been kind of being drip fed here and there. But I want to shout out everyone in the chat today. So hello to Zoov and Animal Lover and Kung Fu Gamer and G-Rex. How you all doing in the chat? I'm glad to see you all here. Because, yeah, we are going to be, like I said, just kind of going over the state of Ocean State and why I haven't been uploading. So you're all familiar with the entrance. That really hasn't changed much. I have to redo the mods of the logo for Ocean State isn't there. But the minute you walk through, I really need to put up railings here. I don't know why I don't have railings. I should probably have railings. You get the staircase, and immediately you're like, this isn't the seal habitat. What is this? So, yeah, so the big thing is I obviously haven't been uploading Ocean State a lot, but if we just exit out for a second, I've definitely been working on Ocean State a lot. So Ocean State is a full-fledged zoo now. It's definitely expanded from when it first was created. It has two massive domes. It has a big aquatic section. This is my new Africa project. We have the North America area. And so hopefully I can kind of go over everything in greater detail about, why some things change, how some things change, etc. And kind of walk you through the entire zoo. But I guess the first thing that we have to address is why I have been uploading. So I would say shortly before I stopped uploading was roughly when I was working on these two projects, the Madagascar Dome and Discover RI, which I actually did for Vigo's contest to get my lion-tailed macaques. So the reason I stopped uploading, I wanted to work on both of these projects without the pressure of needing to do a time lapse, which I know it sounds kind of like stupid almost to be like, oh, well, why do you feel pressure to do time lapses? I get this like kind of anxiety about building on a time lapse where I feel like I need the constant need to move around. I have to constantly be, oh God, I need to play something here. I need to play something here. There's not enough action going on. I don't want to have it pause. So for all those reasons, I get like anxiety and I just want to build without the pressures of needing to build, which is kind of why I liked live streams. So that was like a perk. And I think I mentioned this in one of my previous streams. Like, I don't really like doing time lapses because one, they take forever to edit. That's a big portion of it. So I don't have a magic computer like Leaf does, apparently. Leaf can, like, record a video, render it, and get it out to you within 5 minutes. And I don't understand how he does it, but he does it. For me, something like that would take a few hours to, like, 3 or 4 hours just to get something. Or if it's a time-lapse, even longer. Sometimes I have to split time-lapses that are a half hour into 2 parts, combine them, re-render. It's kind of a mess. So for all those reasons, time lapses are really a pain for me. And so that was a major reason why I stopped doing that. Also, hey Vicky, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a bit. Also, hi Panda Boy, how you doing? I want to shout out everyone as they come in because, I I haven't seen you guys in a bit. But so for all those reasons, like, I kind of wanted to build those without the pressure of needing to upload time lapses, right? Then I was like, well, if I'm not doing time lapses, I can't just magically like have them be, completed things, right? And then I guess I'll do walkthroughs. So I wanted to do walkthroughs I was like, I'll finish all of Discover RI, make that an episode. I'll do all of the Madagascar Dome, make that an episode. I'll do all of the North America Trail, make that an episode. And I might still do that. But then the other thing that happened that I kind of addressed in today's video. Also, what's up, Sib? How you doing? Also, hi, Forge. How you doing? I like seeing everyone here. But, like, I was basically saying, like, okay, if I'm going to do all these episodes, I need to, like, find the time to do it. Then I got a job, which I kind of addressed in my video earlier today, where we were going over the conservation pack, which we'll probably go over that too, because you can't just announce a pack and then we're not going to talk about it on a live stream. So that was another reason I wanted to get this live stream out today, because we definitely want to talk about the conservation pack. But, yeah, so for all those reasons, I just haven't had a lot of time to upload. I've had a lot of time to play Planet Zoo, but not do the extra stuff that would be required for YouTube. So stuff like editing and uploading and live streaming and stuff. I don't really have time for that. I just had time to play Planet Zoo. And I will admit, that was nice. I've been having a good time. I didn't feel the pressures of YouTube, because anyone who does YouTube, especially Planet Zoo YouTube, they know what I'm talking about. There is a weird intrinsic pressure to, I need to constantly upload, I need to grind, I know Leaf said it himself in one of his more recent videos. He was talking about, like, his anxiety and stuff of, like, feeling the need to upload every single day. And, he has a full-time job, he has a life, etc. It's, it gets to you, because at the end of the day, YouTube is not a job for anyone, or I should say not a career. You can make some passive income, but it's not going to be anything to support you. The way I've always treated YouTube and Nexus and all these forms of extra income, they have been my zoo money. I go to real life zoos with the money that I make. Also, thank you, Andy. I appreciate it so much. You've been a member for 18 months now, but that's crazy, actually. You've been a member for a year and a half now. That's actually insane. But thank you, as always, Andy, for continuing to support me, miraculously. Also, Vicky, you're now a diamond, too. We got a couple of diamonds now. That's kind of cool. Was that the chimpanzee exhibit? Yeah, I'll show it off. So let's start the actual tour. So I'm going to go kind of in the order that I built everything. And we can kind of look at everything. So obviously not everything is done, but for starters, we should address the obvious thing. So this is my new lion-tailed macaque habitat. So where's the seals? So what I ended up doing is I realized that I have a pretty crappy seal enclosure for my pinnipeds, and I had obtained some California sea lions from a trade I did. I forget what it was for. It was like 2 California sea lions, and I traded maybe a kangaroo or a camel or something. But it was a good deal, so I took it. So what I loved about this was I actually was able to retrofit the old seal enclosure to make it for lion-tailed macaques. Unfortunately, there's no lion-tailed macaque habitat, hence why it's empty. But I have a little troop. I have 5 macaques. And so I think this turned out really cool. So I liked the theming that I was able to do with this. I basically took the old rock work that was already there, and I just added a little bit of theming that would be realistic for a zoo that got like a slightly higher budget, which I guess that should be the other thing that I address. Canonically, Ocean State got a bigger budget. And the reason is because the Madagascar dome, which we will go over, was very profitable. So because that was so profitable, Ocean State got a little bit more of a budget for theming and kind of went a little bit more, still like reasonable theming, but a little bit more in the theming element. So I kind of based this off of like an Asian temple, kind of like Indonesia, Cambodia-esque. It's obviously very fictional, but I really liked what I did. You can see I have like a bunch of I used some of the new decals and stuff to get like some kind of like grimy moss and stuff. And I went with a kind of like scaffolding architecture. Like this is like a ruin type thing. And I think it turned out really good for a retrofit. Like, you can tell it was kind of a seal habitat if pointed out, but, other than that, you wouldn't really be able to tell, like, that this wasn't always meant for lion-tailed macaques. So I really like how it turned out, and this is a great entry animal, I think, because I think seals are great. I love seals, but I really think the macaques are going to be a really good entrance piece, so that's going to be really cool. So now I guess we will go over Discover RI. So, like I said, to get those macaques, I had to win them in a competition. And the competition was, funnily enough, a competition about paleontology and how each state has a national fossil or artifact from paleontology. And so Vigo did a competition where it said, write about your state's, paleontological fossil, or, your state fossil. So here's a fun fact about Rhode Island. We don't have a state fossil. In fact, we don't have any paleontology here in Rhode Island. So Rhode Island is basically it's just a dead zone for paleontology due to we've always been in the worst spot historically for any time period. So what I ended up doing that I thought was cool, I basically treated the entire, area that I did, Discover RI, as a why we don't have fossils section. And I won the competition, which is funny. We don't have a state fossil, and I won the state fossil competition. And I will say, I think it's because I put a lot of research and work into it. I think this exhibit looks really, really cool for a general education thing. So I guess to start out, you can see some of the billboards we have. You can see Rhode Island, it was a very relatively sparse fossil record. Among its common fossils or plant remains, etc. And so I'll kind of stop, and anyone who wants to read all of my billboards and stuff, you can kind of look at them here. Because I thought I did a pretty good job with some of these, making them really cool. So you can kind of see this one right here. So I did all the custom art for it and stuff. Also, what's up, Croco? How you doing? Also, hey, Goron. How you doing? Kaden, same thing. I love seeing everyone again. But as you can see, we have a lot of really cool billboards. I did all of these, custom and stuff. And then I did even some custom mods specifically for this competition that I think also contributed to me winning. So as you can see, I have a little trilobite fossil here or whatever. I also did this, which I thought was adorable. It basically, people could pick up sticky notes and put where they're from. And then I marked out the 3 zoos. I mean, I have to remove this one because Hope Island is no longer Hope Island. Now it's closer to Maine. So unfortunately, I'm probably going to have to pull Hope Island. But I obviously have Roger Williams highlighted and Ocean State. And again, I made this custom Rhode Island sign as a mod. I think it worked out really good. And then you have, some historic Rhode Island photos, like an old map, and this is an old lighthouse, Roger Williams, obviously. What's funny, it's an old photo of Roger Williams with the new logo, which I find funny. And then we have what is my favorite section, which is the Off Our Shores touch pool, which originally this entire area, Discover RI, was supposed to be a temporary attraction. But my friends and I all agreed we love it so much that it's just now a permanent addition to Ocean State. So I really love this touch pool. Leaf had at the time loaned me some touch pool animals, so starfish, sea urchins, horseshoe crab, etc. Now I actually own some of my own, so I actually have some stingrays and sharks and stuff. But originally this was just a cow nose touch pool that you'd be able to pet them and stuff. Also, the banner from the billboard pack that you might have seen, this is why I made it. I also want to shout out Goron, who actually helped me get this looping perfectly. He did the editing, so shout out to Goron. Thank you for doing that. That was really appreciated. And again, I really like the backdrop and stuff. I think I did a really good job. There's this video that plays different videos of Newport and the surrounding islands. It's just a really, really good area. I really liked everything I did with Discover RI. The banner is not broken, for the record. For those who are having issues with the banner, you have to place down a base game thing, a base game screen. It can be the memorial plaque, it could be screens, whatever, and then you use it. So that's how you have to use it in order for it to work. These are some photos of some actual plants that were found in Rhode Island. Then a big focus I wanted to talk about was the insects and stuff that were from the past. So I have this American burying beetle exhibit, which is a huge conservation program here in Rhode Island because they're one of the only populations found in Rhode Island. So they're one of the only endangered insects there is, and their only population is off the coast of Block Island. So by doing this, I actually gained some American burying beetles. So I have a small colony, and I'm kind of like the breeding hub for American burying beetles. I gave a few to Leaf to start his own program and a few other things. So yeah, that's kind of a thing. No, the memorial plaque update didn't fix it because I made the banner and stuff. I made all the stuff before the update, so that's the reason. I also did this custom American burying beetle sign, which I think turned out really, really nice. So that looks really cool. And then you can learn a little bit more about American burying beetles here. So I like I said, I did a lot of research for this project, and so I'm glad I did win the competition ultimately because I think it looks really cool. So this ancient arthropods banner idea, I actually stole from Mystic Aquarium. They have a Jurassic Giants exhibit, which is some like animatronic dinosaurs basically. But I stole the idea and kind of converted it to some plants or some insects and stuff. So it's like a ancient insect exhibit. So you can basically meet an old ancestor of an actual fossil we found, and then its modern relative. So you have a giant burrowing cockroach for the cockroach exhibit, and then over here you have an ancient spider, and then you have Brazilian wandering spider as kind of a thing. So like I said, this whole exhibit was always meant to be just temporary. It was never meant to be something permanent, but I really like how it turned out. And I think it's really good. And so I just want to keep it in Ocean State. I think it's a nice area. I did a lot of work with the theming and stuff. But we can just cut through here. I also did a little dig site. That billboard's not working, but normally it says like dig site and whatever. So like kids can like dig up fossils and stuff. So I thought that was kind of a cool idea. Also, what's up, Seth? How you doing? So going through, the eagle habitat's still the same, and we'll go through North America after, but I think the big thing that we should probably show off is what the main draw of Ocean State, which has been the Madagascar Dome. So, I guess I'll show off Australia quick just because it's a quick thing. So I have a kangaroo walkabout, and this kangaroo walkabout, since Ocean State is based off of like all of the New England zoos combined, kind of has converted to the Northeast zoos because I have now kind of included New York, like the WCS zoos in that a little bit. But this is basically clearly inspired by Roger Williams' old kangaroo walkabout. So you go in, this building is basically modeled exactly after Roger Williams' old one. And even the signage is very similar. But inside of here, we have eastern gray kangaroos, and recently we got Bennett's wallabies, so that's really cool. And it's just a nice little trail, and you get to walk around and stuff. Over here, we have our emu. So this is our emu. We have a lone emu, and he's kept separate just because he'll bite people, which is based off of the actual real-life emu that was both kept at Roger Williams, as well as the marshmallow from, not marshmallow, cupcake from Capron. So my emu is kind of a stand-in for those two real-world emus. And then here's all the actual kangaroos. I don't know why they're all hanging out here. It's that new herding behavior they added. But I really like the kangaroo walkabout. I think the signage I did looks really cool. Like I said, I like the aesthetic. I kind of based it off of, like I said, Roger Williams' Australasia section. But I think it looks really cool. It's like kind of like a, clipboard type thing. I'm also looking forward to maybe trying to get an aviary here for either kookaburra or budgies, but we'll get to that when we get through the Madagascar Dome, which is the big thing that I worked on for a while now. So this is my Madagascar Dome, and like I said, it's clearly based off of Bronx. So it's based off of two things. It's based off of Franklin Park Zoo and Bronx. So Bronx obviously has their Madagascar building, and that's great, and that's clearly where a lot of the exhibits came from. But you might be like, how did Ocean State afford a dome like this? And you know how I was saying how all, Ocean State's like a hodgepodge of all the New England zoos? Well, the big story here is Franklin Park Zoo in Boston basically had this original plan back in the 90s that was going to make a giant indoor zoo. And it was going to be comprised of 4 massive domes that kind of encompass the entire zoo. And each dome was going to be based off of a region of Africa. So you had the African belt, the African desert, the African jungle, and the African plains. And they were massive, massive domes. And they had a bunch of really cool animals and stuff. So the first exhibit, now I then took that and then went, okay, I really want to do a Madagascar section. So how do I do it? And then I put it in the dome ultimately. And I think it turned out really, really well. So the first exhibit you enter is the Madagascar Spiny Forest exhibit. Again, completely ripped off. Everything in here is completely ripped off of Bronx, but it's, kind of, I made it my own. But the first exhibit is the Spiny Forest, and this enclosure has common brown lemur, ring-tailed lemur, red fody, which are a type of bird, and radiated tortoise. So all of them, kind of hang out in this main enclosure. However, the 2 lemurs, the brown and the ringtails, can actually climb over or climb through the fence. The reason they can get out is I made bamboo railing for theming, and because of that, they glitch out through my entire zoo. But they would normally be able to go over this overpass and come into this other enclosure, which is also modeled after the Spiny Forest. My plan is to ultimately eventually get more lemurs and then migrate some of my other lemurs into this enclosure, and then I'll remove the passage and stuff. And I would love it if I could just make it so that the ringtails actually stayed in their enclosure. That'd be great. But you also want to check out here. I have 2 smaller terrariums, and these are for 2 other Madagascar animals that aren't really talked about as much. And that is the golden mantella, which is a type of frog from Madagascar. That's very, very cool. They are endangered, and they're like tiny little orange frogs. I actually put them in the exhibit prop pack, so if anyone wants, these are golden mantellas. They're very, very tiny orange frogs. I had them in originally, but I don't know, maybe I just didn't save it. And then similarly, we have the Sambava tomato frog, which the Sambava tomato frog, again, same thing. It's actually in the prop pack. Originally, Leaf made a model, but he made the regular tomato frog, and I needed the Sambava, so I ultimately made it. But the Sambava and the regular tomato frog are both available. And this is their habitat. And I really liked how it turned out. There's a little bit of my fake water in here. And, they have some places to climb. They have some mulch and stuff. And I think it worked out really good for, like, how small some of these custom terrariums are. And then, of course, we have red fody, which kind of hang out. They fly around and stuff. They can fit through the thing, probably. This exhibit is basically being reserved for one of several species. It will either be used for, in an ideal world, II. That'd be the main thing. I'd like it to be like kind of like a cool nocturnal exhibit. I have just entered a new competition for ZSU that was for the gibbon competition. I requested mouse lemur. I'm not sure I'm going to get them. Probably not. Ehring is the main lemur person in ZSU, and he kind of immediately shut me down and said, "You're not getting mouse lemur. They're way too rare." So I would like them, and this would be like, another place I could put them. Another idea I had was Malagasy giant jumping rat, which I think would also be really cool. So all 3 of those animals would be great additions for this area. And I hope I can get at least one of them. But right now, it's just an empty enclosure. So now we're kind of going through. Also, I want to shout out, if you see kind of janky rock work, this was made before NDP released the faux rock pack. So note that. If you're like, why didn't you use like NDP's pack? That's the reason. This was all made before then. So then you move into the Madagascar jungle. So the Madagascar jungle is where I keep my ruffed lemurs, so my red ruffed and black and white ruffed. And their kind of enclosure is a lot more lush. It's got a lot more plant life and stuff. And they have a lot more verticality than the other lemurs, so they can actually go all the way up there. You can see it's a much higher part of the dome, so they can kind of hang up in the canopies of the jungle and stuff. And so I think that's going to be a really cool thing if you can ever see it. I don't know where my lemurs are. They probably escaped. But then this, once again, was ripped directly out of Bronx. This is my Madagascar hissing cockroach tunnel. So I actually have taken liberties to start a naming program where anyone who wants can send me a small donation, and I will name a cockroach after you, much like how Bronx offers that naming opportunity at their actual zoo. So I have a few names already. I have one named after Forge, one named after Croco. They basically, you know, you each get a cockroach. I have 75 to work with, so everyone has a perfect opportunity to you know, get a cockroach named after them. So now we go into continue down to some of my other terrariums. So this is my panther chameleon enclosure, and I wish I had panther chameleons as props. NDP is working on it, but unfortunately it's not out. So until then, this habitat is vacant, as well as the other two, unfortunately. But I have gold dust day gecko and Madagascar giant day gecko. And I think both terrariums look really cool. I like this one because I added a waterfall in the background, and you can kind of see the Madagascar mountains in the background. But basically, obviously, they just have access to just this tiny area over here. The gold dust day geckos have slightly more space, but again, same thing. But I really like doing these terrariums. They're really cool. I really enjoyed doing it, especially with the exhibit prop pack that I made. So that's really good. So, Seth, you do not have one, but I will name it right after this stream. I will get you a cockroach named after you, because we've done some trades. So this big green wall, you're probably like, that's a bit odd. That's pretty lazy for theming. It's because ultimately this exhibit is being reserved for the king of Madagascar. Oh god, I got stuck on the roof. Give me a sec. Let's see if I can fall back. I want to see if I can try to escape. I accidentally clipped into the roof and then got stuck. So let's just try to rectify that. So this area, like I said, is being reserved for the king of Madagascar, which is the Fusa. I had the chance to get the Fusa at the last ZSU auction. Unfortunately for myself, I was not available because Leaf, Dill, and I had gone to four zoos in one day. Technically 5, but we went to 4 zoos in one day, and it was the day of the auction. So we were really limited, so I had Annika and Croco and stuff helping me bid. Ultimately, I won an animal that we'll kind of go over a little bit later, but you know, I think it's very good. Thank you, Julie. Love you. Thank you for the donation. Appreciate it. So the Fuso were very much an animal that I wanted. Ultimately, Olympa got them, and you know, Olympa's one of the bigger zoos, so I get it. But this area will be reserved for Fusa. Fusa will ultimately go here. I'm really hoping to get them. Speaking of animals I really want that really don't fit, my mongoose lemurs are in the Madagascar Singi Cliffs exhibit, which I actually want to redo now that I have better rocks and stuff, because I use the plaster pieces for the rocks to kind of make it like faux rock work and stuff. It looks really bad. So I want to get rid of that. But ultimately, this habitat is really not designed for mongoose lemur. It is designed for Cockerel sifaka. And I really want Cockerel sifaka, but of course they are very difficult to obtain in ZSU. So, you know, until then, mongoose lemur are going to be hanging out here in their place. If I get sifaka, they will move in, and my mongoose lemur will move to, like I said, one of the other lemur enclosures that I have. So, next up, speaking of more lemurs, we have the crowned lemur. So, I am one of only 2 holders. So, I believe Leaf is the other. and they have a very cool exhibit. So they have a Madagascar bamboo forest. So they have a slightly smaller habitat, and that's mostly because they're going to be on their own. But I think this exhibit came out pretty cool. They have a lot of climbing frames that they can climb up and stuff, and it looks really, really neat. But the main draw is this cave, which is my most proud habitat in the Madagascar dome, and that is my Nile crocodile habitat, home to Snappy, my Nile crocodile. And Snappy was donated from Niva Crocodile, the zoo in Denmark, and it is it's a really nice habitat. I really like the lighting I did. So there's like sunlight that comes through, hits this basking area, and the water below is actually decorated because the crocodile shares its home with fish. So I have pinstripe damba and red-chinned panchax. So funny story about the red-chinned panchax. I'm not supposed to have red-chinned panchax. I asked Croco to be my fish guy, and I was like, I need Madagascar fish. So what I requested was red-chinned panchax by his request. Turns out, red-chinned panchax don't live in Madagascar. They live in West Africa. So I actually have the wrong panchax species. I was supposed to have a Madagascar type, but until I actually get the correct type of panchax, they will be the wrong one. So it is the only one in the Madagascar dome that actually has a Africa highlighted thing instead of a Madagascar area. But it's not a huge deal. Like I said, they're just there for decoration anyway. The main draw is obviously the Nile crocodile. So as you exit the Madagascar dome, you come to our aquatic pavilion. So the aquatic pavilion is very cool. I can actually hit play. And you can see our African penguin exhibit. This African penguin exhibit I actually modeled off of San Diego. So I do apologize. It's closer to it's closer to San Diego than anything that any of the New England penguin habitats are like. But it was too good to pass up. So I really like how I designed this habitat. So the penguins actually share this habitat with 7 striped bass, which are kind of ridiculous when you think about it, because I think I was looking for some African coastal species, and there was an aquarium competition. And I entered the competition with my fish tanks, requesting some African coastal species, and instead I was offered 7 striped bass and a dogfish. So my penguins share an enclosure with 7 Atlantic striped bass and 1 smooth dogfish. But you know what? I'm not changing it. They're gonna live together, and that will be their enclosure. It's plenty big enough for both species, or all 3 species. So that's not an issue. We will take a look at this monstrosity in a second, but first I want to show off the rest of the aquatic pavilion, because we now get to where Orwell and Milo went originally, and that is the new pinniped pavilion. So this is the brand new, modeled after Mystic Aquarium kind of pinniped exhibit. So the enclosure includes both of my original harbor seals, as well as my gray seal that was a rescue, and my 2 female California sea lions. So all 5 of them live in this pretty spacious habitat. You can see there's a nice, rockwork and waterfalls and stuff, and it's plenty big for all of them. And you also get above ground viewing of the African penguins. You can see like their kind of copy rock area. But what's really cool about the new pinniped exhibit is they actually finally have underwater viewing, which is really good. So you can actually go underneath the enclosure, and I mean right now it's showing like I'm underwater. But if you go down here, it's that one like trick where, as you can see, the pinnipeds can actually swim right overhead, which is really cool. I'm trying to, what is it? I like the new explore mode, but it's kind of a pain. So here we go. So as you can see, all the pinnipeds can just swim right over you, which I think is really, really neat. So you can see there's one of my gray seals. And yeah, and they just swim right overhead. And I love this. I think this is a great, improvement from their original enclosure. And I really, really, hope people like it because I think it looks cool. So now we are going to go into the latest kind of thing that Ocean State Zoo has been working on, and that is our Direction of Africa area. So you may have seen the Madagascar Dome, and the Madagascar Dome is actually called Madagascar, the Eastern Island. And it's because Direction of Africa is comprised of 4 new areas based off the cardinal directions. And so we are going to be, that was the east, so we need to go into Africa's Western Sunrise, which is the newest dome, and it is a mega dome. So this dome is based off of West Africa. So as you can see, you immediately come in and you're kind of presented with a bamboo forest. And this first exhibit is for my West African dwarf crocodiles, which Croco actually loaned to me on a breeding reservation. So basically the plan is eventually my crocodiles will be sent back to Kazi-no-Tani when they are, once they breed. And I will keep the offspring and they will be kept in this enclosure. So they have a very spacious enclosure. It's very, very nice. It's modeled after some West African rivers and stuff. And there's some nice murals in the background and rockwork. And then this is actually our new silvery-cheeked hornbill habitat. So silvery-cheeked hornbill was actually the first exhibit I ever built for Ocean State. And I thought that, Betty needed a brand new enclosure. So Betty is now in a very, very spacious enclosure compared to what she used to have. It's supposed to be implied netted over, but it's a lot bigger. She has an actual proper tree now instead of climbing frames, and a lot of cool rockwork and sticks and stuff that she can kind of perch on. So I really think, she'll appreciate it a little bit more than the kind of crappy straw hut that she was in for a while. So next up, we end up with the Red River Hog enclosure, which is down here. And the Red River Hogs can kind of walk around here. They will not have outdoor access, unfortunately, for those who are going to be concerned about welfare. But they're pigs. They don't care. A lot of zoos do something like this, so they have plenty of space to walk around. I have 2, and they have a nice little moat and stuff. And then over here, we have our ball python. So this was obtained in the I forgot what it was. I think it was the domestic store. And so this is the ball python enclosure, and it's pretty spacious for a ball python, so I think it's pretty good. And I have some other room for smaller terrariums if I eventually get some other West African, herptiles, insects, that sort of thing. So right now they're empty, but if I get more. I should also mention that this is a free-fly aviary, so there are free-roaming West African birds, like lovebirds of different types, that fly around the aviary portion. So this is actually really good timing. It's rarely in here, but this is our bongo exhibit. So we have a Western bongo that hangs out in the kind of indoor portion, and it's pretty spacious. So if it's too cold out or during the winter months, like I said, they need a place to stay. And so for those who are going to be naysayers about why I keep my animals in domes, you need to consider where I live. I live in New England, where we get frozen temperatures for months at a time. And it's not really summer weather until roughly May, and then it's gonna go until around September. But for about half the year, it's gonna be too cold for a lot of these tropical species, whether it be lemurs, bongos, or the next animal we talk about, to be outside. And like I said, this is kind of why Franklin Park addressed this by wanting to build the megadomes. And so for a while, a lot of their species that were kept in the Congo Dome that they ultimately built, like gorillas and leopards and stuff, were kept year-round without an outdoor enclosure. And this was just due to the fact that they physically couldn't be outside because it would be too cold half the year. And so domes like this one give people the opportunity to see these animals year-round without needing to worry about, oh no, it's winter, I don't want to go to the zoo, it's going to be too cold. But next up, we have the main draw of this dome, and that is my western chimpanzees. So Ocean State is the only holder of chimpanzees or any great ape in all of ZSU. So Ocean State has a very, very large chimpanzee complex that we've designed to kind of cater to our 3 males that we obtained from the auction that I wanted Fusa from. So I didn't get the Fusa I wanted, but I did ultimately get the only apes in ZSU. So it's very, very cool. And so they are the main draw of this dome. They get the majority of the space. But I should also mention, this area, or if I turn around, this area, I haven't built the enclosure for it yet, but will be my new Savannah Monitor exhibit, which is going to be kind of hanging out here on the rocks and stuff. And it'll be a small little terrarium area. So then we get to this area, which is my wishful thinking of what I would like out of Ocean State eventually. I don't think I am going to get them anytime soon, but I was in negotiations with some trade offers with Gateway Safari Park and a few other zoos that were maybe going to try to help me kind of bring my master plan that I've released on my press room to fruition. And that is the 2 animals that will complete this dome, which are hippopotamus and West African lion. Even if I get a generic lion, I am labeling it West African, and I don't care. And that is literally just so that I actually, complete the Western idea. So I have actually gone ahead and designed a hippo habitat already, even if I don't have hippos. So we will use taxidermy right now to represent my sight lines for my hippos. So as you can see here, as you enter here, you would be able to see hippos from a nice safe distance up on this ridge from no matter where you actually are. So from right here, you would be able to see hippos, here, here, here. They can even go all the way over here. And let's say it was up on the top of the hill. You'd be able to see it pretty much from anywhere in the dome. So that is a really good sight line that I kind of designed. And then obviously, the land area, you'd be able to see them all along this ridge. But then, of course, hippos are going to spend the majority of the time underwater. So obviously, the hippo enclosure would be, they'd hang out predominantly underwater. So you have plenty of space to view them underwater right here. Which I think is going to be, hopefully, a thing that I can eventually accomplish. Because I think hippos would be a very good animal to kind of complete the dome. Then, finally, we have a fish tank right next to it that kind of continues on. And this leads into my West African fish that I do actually have. So I have Congo tetra and a few other fish that I'm drawing a blank on right now. But they're all from West Africa. So this is just kind of like a African river tank. So over here will be the lion enclosure. I haven't built it because I don't have lions. I was supposed to get a trade with Forge for a lion, but it got declined because in order for lions to be held in ZSU from now on, you need at least 2 lions. So I need 2 lions. I'm on the top of the waiting list for both Epic and Forge's lions. So I feel confident I will eventually get lions. Hippos I'm a little iffy on, but I'm willing to negotiate some stuff if need be. So this is the rest of the chimpanzee enclosure. It looks like all of our boys are outside today. So they have access to their outdoor enclosure, which I did decide to give them ultimately. Oh, here's one of them now. I actually did a chimpanzee remaster, so they actually don't look bad. They actually look pretty good now, because they actually have black faces, and they're actually jacked and stuff. So, I actually prefer my chimpanzee remaster compared to the base game stuff. But you can see them from, like I said, pretty much everywhere in the indoor dome. So now we can kind of check out all the outdoor exhibits. So as you exit Western Sunrise, you are immediately kind of, you have a nice breath of fresh air. This will be the lion enclosure. like I said, outdoor access. They will have an indoor enclosure. I would love your lion reservation, Seth. Again, anyone who is willing to help me get hippos and lions, you guys are going to be my BFFs. Because those two things are like a big thing that I am trying to get. But here is the outdoor, lion jungle enclosure. And what I liked about the idea here is that the lions would then be able to cross over, kind of like Philadelphia, like Zoo 360, into the savanna enclosure, which brings us to our next area, which is Africa's southern plains. So this is going to be based off of South Africa, and all of the animals are going to be, South African in nature. So you have the lion enclosure that kind of goes into this kind of rinky-dink lion enclosure. I basically designed it after Capron a bit. So it's definitely, like, you can kind of see some similarities between this enclosure and Capron. And obviously Capron is known for not having the best lion enclosure. And so I wanted to give them 3 different enclosures that they could go between. Now I don't have lions, so, take that into account. I don't even have lions. But I went ahead and made an enclosure anyway, because I feel confident I will eventually get them. So next up, we have the savanna, which the savanna, I don't know why I haven't placed my animals in yet in a lot of these enclosures, but my African savanna, as you can see, clearly based off of a mixture of a few different zoos around here. So this is based off of predominantly Roger Williams, but a few others. I threw in a little bit of Franklin Park, a little bit of Southwick's. And this is going to have my 2 common eland, which are kind of a reference to Lupa, and Watusi cattle and zebra, which are found basically everywhere. So those are going to all live together on the same savanna, and you can kind of get good viewing no matter what. But if you want, you can kind of come through here, and, there's a nice viewing platform. I kind of based this off of Roger Williams' giraffe enclosure, actually. But I think it turned out pretty good. So it's a nice little, a nice habitat. It's nothing special, but, it's a nice little area. I have other plans for some smaller African animals on the side, but I don't want to go over those until I actually get them. So next up, we enter the Northern Kashba. So this is the next Africa section and my most themed area in all of Ocean State. And I based this off of Roger Williams' Marco Polo habitat. So Marco Polo at Roger Williams is the only, really themed area. And so I kind of based it a little bit off of that, but I took it with my own spin and did a North Africa theme. So it's kind of a giant hodgepodge of different North African cultures. So you have Morocco and Egypt and, Sudan, Somalia, stuff like that. So it's a lot of North African stuff, all combined. And I think it works pretty well. So the first exhibit we have are my bat-eared foxes, which, like I said, didn't download the mod, so I don't have them right now. But this is the bat-eared fox habitat. You can look in them right here. They have a pretty big enclosure. I have 2 females, again, donated from Neba Crocodile. And I stole this from Capron. There's a little indoor viewing for the winter where they can kind of go in and there'll be heat lamps and stuff, but you'll still be able to view them. So next up, we have our dromedary camel exhibit, which I finally built for. They were one of my starter species, and I've never built for them until now. But we have dromedary camels. So I did an interesting thing. So the camel rides is a mixture of 3 different inspirations. So one is Roger Williams' camel ride area that we had a little bit ago, a few years back, about 5 years ago. And so that was the general circuit. I also based the climbing platform that you need off of Southwick's climbing platform, and I actually based the kind of canopies off of Bronx when Bronx had camel rides. So all 3 of them kind of combine to make one big camel ride thing, and then you can buy some camel ride tickets right there, which I actually stole from Roger Williams, the Planet Zoo series, because Leaf built this little thing, and I stole it because I'm probably going to demolish that camel ride thing at the Roger Williams just because we don't have one anymore. So finally, speaking of Roger Williams, the rest of the camel enclosure is literally Roger Williams camel enclosure pretty much with a slight twist. Like I said, I have those Bronx canopies and a little bit of a different layout from Roger Williams. But it's very inspired by Roger Williams' layout. So next up we have the bat-eared fox secondary, or I guess third viewing, so you can kind of see that. And then last up we have the Aoudad enclosure, which the Aoudad enclosure, again, don't have the mods, but I actually really like how I did the mountain for this one. I based it off of Southwick's Aoudad enclosure, and I think it came out really, really good. So I really like this. I like the stable in the background, and I like how there's a little tower or whatever just for a little bit extra theming. So we can kind of walk through here, and then I love how I still haven't named it, but this is going to be based off of Franklin Park's Gorilla Grove, which is their newest gorilla enclosure that they just made, but I've made it for chimpanzees, so it's the insert name chimpanzee outdoor enclosure. But, you know, it's just a way that you can see the chimpanzees, you know. I have to make a climbing frame for them because obviously chimps like to climb, but this is the general idea. You can kind of walk through and, you know, see them. It's funny. I went inside. They weren't inside. Now I'm outside. They're not outside. But normally they can kind of walk around this entire area. And then similarly, I will just quickly show off the Bongo outdoor enclosure. Kind of based it off of a mixture of Roger Williams and Franklin Park's Bongo enclosures with my own twist to give it a little bit more of that kind of lushness of like Bronx a little bit with their Okapi trek. So finally, I guess I can show it off even though it's not really that important. But it is the hippo outdoor enclosure that I made even though I don't have hippos. So I'll show that off really quickly because then we will go into the North America Trail. So here is the hippopotamus outdoor enclosure. I haven't added railings or anything, but this is where I would put my hippos if I had any. So, it's very nice. It's a very nice hippo enclosure. I don't have hippos. So we're going to cut back a little bit because I haven't built too much, but we are going to cut to, I guess, what everyone is familiar with if you've been following Ocean State, which is kind of the original North America trek and how it's kind of changed a little bit. So everyone's familiar with my eagle habitat, and, you know, I'll give you a little hint. They might be getting an upgrade kind of soon, because this is a pretty rinky-dink enclosure for some of my oldest residents. So you might have seen I like updating my habitats for newer stuff occasionally, specifically for my older species. So obviously you've also seen my bobcat enclosure. That's nothing new. But this enclosure is new. So this is for my peccary exhibit. So you'd be like, oh, it's North America, so they're collared peccary, correct? No, I have Chicoan peccary. And the reason I did this is because that's actually what happened with Stone Zoo. So Stone, they have Chicoan peccary next to their mountain lions and stuff, even though they're not really, you know, fitting the theme super well, because they have kind of like a, southwestern United States area, but they don't actually have collared peccary because the AZA doesn't like collared peccary. They prefer Chicoan. So I thought I'd do the same thing. So I actually have Chicoan peccary in a North America section. But I think it actually works, and they can go all the way through this area, and it stretches all the way here to their indoor holding over here, which leads us to my now vacant alligator enclosure. So this was, I think, the last episode I did of Ocean State, and there's just not a thing anymore. I actually traded away Gus to G-Rex, and now I don't have him anymore. So I'm now on my official map of Ocean State. I am labeling alligator as a seasonal exhibit because I'm pretty sure I can get alligator again. But right now I'm pretending like it's a seasonal thing. We sent it away like a lot of zoos in New England do for our alligators. And then obviously you've seen our otter habitat. I have a whole video on that one. But we can kind of go to the newer exhibits. So obviously everyone's seen my porcupines as well. So this is where Pukwudgie is. He also has a girlfriend now, by the way. I haven't named her, but he does have a girlfriend. So I now have a breeding pair of porcupine. So this is my prairie dog habitat, which Croco hates. Croco is like, this is the most disgusting prairie dog habitat. I think it's fine. I kind of based it a little bit off of Southwick's prairie dog habitat. So it's not supposed to look good, but it's just a thing. So kids can kind of go into here, into the tunnel, to like go into the different bubbles and stuff. But past that, you just kind of look at the prairie dogs. So this is a big draw of Ocean State right now. We are some of the only holders of moose in America, at least, I'm pretty sure. And so we have a very spacious moose enclosure. It's pretty large. It kind of, you know, I have a big lake section, a big forest section. And I think it's really, really nice. So there's not much to say about it. We just have moose. Moose are cool. They were a cool thing. I actually got them from Forge. Forge was like, I don't want moose. And then I'm like, I'll take them off your hands. So we traded for something at the time. So I got a breeding pair of moose. And then now he's working on his North America section. And he's like, I want moose again. And I'm like, oh, maybe you can have babies if I get them. But next up, we have the mountain lion enclosure. I know, the logo of Ocean State. I finally have mountain lions, right? So my mountain lion habitat, I kind of based a bit off of... I don't know why I have chain link here. This is supposed to be glass. There we go. But this mountain lion enclosure was partially based off of Queen Zoo's mountain lion enclosure, but I kind of made it my own. So I made this cool thing. I like to think they call this the rib cage, and it's a big climbing frame that's kind of like shaped like a rib cage a little bit. But it gives the mountain lions a little bit of an elevation difference and stuff. And another thing that I kind of liked about the mountain lion habitat that I designed, since it is netted over, they can climb up some of these rocks and they can actually peek over into the peccary habitats. But because of these, you know, kind of tarps that I put up, the peccary can't see the mountain lions. So I think that was kind of clever because it's a predator-prey thing, but it's not going to scare the peccary, but the mountain lions are going to get the enrichment. I think that's a good compromise. And then past that, that is Ocean State in a nutshell. So... I do have a few more animals, and I thought I would spend the rest of today's stream kind of building for, you know, some of those animals for you guys. And we could probably just talk about, you know, some of the other things that, you know, have been going on. So, I got the moose for a coyote, then I traded it with 4. Okay, so Andy originally had them. So they're technically originally Andy's moose. But I don't intend on trading them away because I feel like they've been traded enough. So these moose will remain at Ocean State until Ocean State closes. Or they die. Probably their death. But yeah, so kind of can spend the rest of today's stream just kind of going over, you know, what's new. We got a new pack today. It's the conservation pack. Everyone said endangered species wouldn't be a thing, in that Planet Zoo is definitely not looking at Zoo Tycoon for inspiration, even though 3 out of 4 of the animals, with, let's face it, kind of 4 animals being based off of Zoo Tycoon 2. Just saying. So, the wild horse, scimitar horned oryx, and the, what's it called, leopard are all obviously Zoo Tycoon animals, and then we got a Siamang, which is the preferred gibbon relative to the one that we got in Zoo Tycoon, which is Lar. Which both I would say are equally common, but Siamangs are cooler for modders because we don't have to model the dewlap thing that makes them do their calling. So that's really cool. So I am actually going to look at I have to go to the old ZSU database because I need to see what animals I need to build for. And I'm going to have you guys help me decide on what I have to build for. Because I actually have most of my animals on exhibit now. But I know I have a few habitats I have to build still. So let's see what we got here. So we can build, if I pull up my thing on the thing. We can build for, I think all of my birds are on exhibit. I can build for naked mole rat if you guys really want. Not really thrilled about that prospect. I can build for Canadian lynx. Lynx is cool. I can build for black bear, which I think is what I want to do. or savanna monitor. So I'm gonna save the links because I have plans for that one. Do you guys want me to do the black bear enclosure or the savanna monitor? Let me know in the chat. So yeah, basically mole rat. Because I have plans for the mole rat. I want to do something that's kind of like a hodgepodge between Stone Zoo's Windows to the Wild and Capron Sadler building. I am kind of working with a few people to try to get some more smaller African species to put in that. Like, I kind of want hyrax and meerkats to put in that building with them. So I have plans for it. Bear, okay. Yeah, okay. It's overwhelming. We're building a bear exhibit. So I think what I want to do, let's start building on a hill. I feel like a lot of zoos have hills, and I just don't build on them. So let's do that. So I miss free build. I have a version of free build that allows me to do some stuff, but not everything. So I'm kind of limited with the terrain, but I do have some access to some stuff. So let's just do this for a second. So let's have it so that this path comes down. So this would obviously lead into the underwater viewing for the hippos, but we're also going to have an above ground in a second. So let's see. What size do they normally do there? I think it's 4. Alright. So let's try to smooth this out the best we can. So one thing I despise about, like, not having free build, I can't do those nice smooth hills that you used to be able to do. So hopefully with the new update coming out in a few weeks, hopefully Kai will feel inspired to kind of fix it up, because it is a much needed mod. So I'm going to have that be, you know, you can have the underwater viewing of the hippos there. But let's also just kind of level everything here. Nick, want my meerkats? I have a crap ton. I will definitely take, if you're offering some meerkats, I will take some. I don't have too much to offer. That is the issue right now. I used to be able to pay in mods. I mean, granted, you didn't really care about mods because you're a modder. But I used to be able to pay in mods. I don't have a ton to offer in exchange. I don't know if you have. Though, actually, I don't even know if I can anymore because now you're Australian. So I don't even know if I can do. Because now the ZSU International, which I guess we could also talk about. ZSU International is a thing now. But it's kind of in a weird state right now because it's like not quite ready, seemingly. I talked to Avi. Avi was saying, like, it's kind of in a... It was a little bit prematurely released state, so it's going to be, like, turning on and off switches. So, like, right now, enclosures are off, and breeding is on, but then soon trading might be off, and then we might get breeding back. Like, it's in a weird state right now. So let me do this. So I like the idea that, like, maybe the hill goes down and then up. So, like, so then maybe this area over here is up on a hill. Because I wouldn't say New England is very hilly, but, like, we have some little hills, so I think it will allow me to have more intricate habitats, I'd say, if I do it this way. Because I have an idea in mind for how I do this. So let's see. So let's smooth this whole hill out. I know this is boring. I wish I had free built. So Africa's going to go that way, so I think North America can kind of be over here. So Alright. I think I know what I want. So I'm gonna have it be kind of like a hill habitat right here. And then I think I'm gonna have underwater viewing. Because I get black bears don't usually swim as much as other bears, but if I get another bear in the future, I just want to have it. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Another bear that would be really good for New England. A really good bear species. Something that's like just, you know, something that would really, really be great. Something really good. Something really nice. I want something like that. I want something really good. So, a bear species would be cool other than... Like, I know Andy was giving out his Kodiaks, and that's why I was like, I'll trade you a Kodiak, trade you for the Kodiak, because I definitely think grizzly bears would be very... Or, well, they're not grizzly bears, but brown bears would be a cool species to have. So let's start out, I guess, with the underwater viewing. So this will be the underwater viewing. I think that's enough space for the path. Let's see. Because it doesn't have to be a huge underwater viewing. That's the perk. So that'll be underwater viewing, and then we'll just have it kind of wrap around a bit, kind of like so. And then I might be kind of ripping off Pittsburgh right now. I can have polar bears in Australia. Yeah, that is true. SeaWorld does have polar bears. I traded it for wolves. Ah, that's a shame. I mean, wolves are a cool species. I was debating getting wolves myself, but I don't know. I might, depending. But let's see. Let's build a sizable bear enclosure to start. So I think I'm gonna let people like kind of peek into the bear enclosure, but what's it called, hippo enclosure, but it's not gonna be like a main viewing, I guess. Because I like the idea that like these rocks kind of transition and separate the North America area from the actually, yeah, like that seems fine if I kind of like left that open. But this area definitely needs some work. So let's start placing down some rock work. So we'll do something kind of like this to start. Because I kind of want it to feel like an actual bear habitat. And not like... I don't know where I'm going with that. I'm building a bear habitat, is what I'm saying. So the faux rock work is very important. So let's start with that. And then... the water should be about there. That seems about right. But then we're gonna have it be more like this. Because they don't need as much water as an actual polar bear would. Because it's a black bear enclosure and not a polar bear enclosure. And then... I think I'm probably going to also raise this a little bit so that we get a little bit more land over here. So it'll just have like a little pond. Maybe I'll do like a waterfall with a stream. So we'll cut through like that and then go from there. Use mud walls. I might... depending. Let's see. Because I kind of want to do like that a little bit. That'll give us a decent thing to work with. And then I could add some fallen logs or something. That'll kind of help. Yeah, I think this will work out pretty well. That's funny, actually, how that worked out. So, smooth everything. Probably smooth this a little bit more, just so the mouth of the... I want to get slightly more water in this area. There we go. So that's pretty good. Because I want the main viewing to be kind of like up here. Like you look down on the bear enclosure. I'm kind of basing this off of Pittsburgh's polar bear enclosure. I'm not going to lie. I just went to Pittsburgh Zoo. It was a spur of the moment trip that Julie and I went on. Because it was my birthday recently. I never did a birthday stream, but it was my birthday recently. And I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I've already gone to Bronx this year. I've already gone to Philly this year. So I was like, where's a zoo I've never been? I've milked every major zoo in New England and all the way down to Philly at this point. So I was like, what would work? So what I thought about was like, how much are flights? And I looked at it, and it wasn't really that expensive to just fly down to Philly and literally come home the same day. So I woke up at 5 in the morning, flew all the way to Philly. I had a layover in Detroit, but flew all the way to Philly. And then, yeah, spent the day at the Pittsburgh Zoo. I even went to the National Aviary the same day. And then I flew home that night. And that was my day. And that is what I did this year for my birthday. So... Pretty fun time. Nick, your birthday's on the 25th. Correct. That is weird that you know that, but yes, it is on the 25th. Though I did do a birthday live stream, so I suppose people probably could know that. I'm wondering if I want to use an actual waterfall or, like, a fake one. Like, if I use the, what's it, midsection. It might just be better to use this. Top. Where's midsection? Yeah, I kind of prefer it. I kind of prefer this kind of waterfall specifically for this kind of waterfall, where it's just kind of like a smaller thing. And then now we can do the kind of roughening of the enclosure to make it a little bit better for black bear. So this should be big enough for a single black bear. This is a pretty large enclosure. So I don't think I'm ever going to get, penalized for like, wow, that is cruel. You're keeping a bear in that. This is better than every black bear enclosure in New England. I will say that. This is a lot closer to like, the moon bear enclosure at Roger Williams than any of the other black bears. Because Buttonwood, not the best black bear enclosure. Stone, not the best black bear enclosure. I don't know about Zoo in the Forest Park, or not Zoo in the Forest Park. What's it called? Maine Wildlife. I don't know what their enclosure is like. Leaf and I have plans to go to Maine Wildlife at some point this summer, because I'm just trying to go to as many zoos as possible. I've been to 21 this year, which is pretty impressive, because before last year, I'd only been to like 5 in my life. So the fact that I've been to 21 this year alone is kind of insane. So I think that this works pretty well. I actually like this kind of layout. And then I'm probably going to have to attach a building onto it, so I'll take that into account. That there will probably need to be indoor holding. Now, luckily, black bears are one of those durable species that I don't have to worry about making a dome for because they will be fine during the winters. But, yeah. Still want to give them indoor holding just in case, so. But, yeah, that looks kind of cool. I was saying how Ocean State was kind of looking like a fidget spinner for a while because you have this circle, and this circle, and then the center is the dome. But I'm kind of glad. Get some grass in there. Oh, yeah, I'm definitely adding grass and stuff. Don't worry about that. I like to just destroy everything and, like, build it organically, I guess. So, first things first, I'm adding all the dirt and stuff and sand, and then I will go ahead and add grass and foliage. Because specifically for, like, the New England foliage, I don't really like using the base game stuff. I usually like adding my custom Frontier Pack plants. Though I will admit, the new DLC, those plants are going to be real nice. So, first things first, let's add some pine trees. What are the pine trees I've been using? Yeah, Eastern White Pine. Probably want to add at least one of those. Probably not one of the tall ones, though. So we'll add one of the smaller ones for now. Douglas fir, I can add one of those. Then we use our pine needles. Kind of just lay out the pine needles like so. Let's see. And then I can just kind of raise this. So, definitely going to have a lot of natural substrate in this enclosure, which is nice. And then I might even be able to add a pine tree right there. I think that works decently well. So we'll do that. Probably kind of turn it a little bit like this. So that's looking good. Let's see. We'll add a dead tree going over the lake. Okay, we're looking good, looking good. Fidget Spinner Island, yeah. Let's see. Use fountain pieces, they look way better. You might be right about that with the waterfall. So I'll add just a hair over here. Because you can never have too many pine needles, but... this also gives me a little bit of room if I want to do like a small exhibit on the side. And then I'm just going to smooth all this out once I actually get free build. But let's start adding our grass. So we'll do a little bit kind of like so. But this is what I was saying about, like, it gets really green, which isn't necessarily too bad, but you don't want it a ton, especially for, like, something that's going to be, like, kind of a forested area. So then we whip out the frontier pack and start placing down my New England approved foliage. So get something over there, and then the grass I'm gonna use everywhere, which is my prairie cordgrass. Because I kind of treat the prairie cordgrass as, like, almost like a bush of some kind. Nah, I'm not really too concerned. The tree, because I'm going to add hot wire along the top of the wall anyway. So they shouldn't be able to escape. Or they won't be able to escape. They could right now. Let's see. What'd you say, the crowberry? See, I never really liked this bush. It's too yellow. Bramble, not a very good bush. Unless you were saying crowberry, because, yeah, I don't even like crowberry either. It's, like, too neon. I do like this one. I've always liked the diamond leaf willow. Let's see. I always like the hawthorn a little bit just because it doesn't really fit this area a ton, but it does add a good level of color. Here's what I really need to do. It's the issue with free build. The thing turns off. I want to turn off align to surface. There we go. Now I can do my prairie cordgrass without issue. Periwinkle. It's not terrible. Dead trees. What do I want to work with here? Could throw a couple of custom logs together. Yeah, I might do that. I do always like the marula as a good bush. It's just a good general bush. right. Now to make a good fence. Because this barrier is looking awful right now. So right now we will do this at minimum. Disrupts water placement, SMH. Is it really gonna complain about that? Fine. What kind of wood do I want to use for the... I'll probably use the same wood that I used for the moose. Just to be consistent. So we'll do that. You'll get a pretty good thing. And then I think I might do... I have an idea. This entire area is going to be a big plaza. Because I do have this at my disposal as far as free build goes, so that's good. So I'll use this as a big plaza for now. And then I'm gonna have an elevated like viewing for both the non-existent hippos and the bear, like kind of in the middle. So let's see how I want to do that. So I'm almost wondering, do I want that? That might not be bad either, actually. If I just make it a elevated platform up here. I mean, this is annoying, but this is so annoying. Because I want to get the right height. Because I don't want it to be too tall. So let's do this. And my music stopped. So let's play this music. There we go. Why? It enables free build. Assuming you have the new version. Yeah, maybe it's not worth it. Thought it'd be cool, but... Because what's a... How tall is a wall? Because, yeah, I wanted it, like, roughly, like... At the height at which you could, realistically see the bears from, and hippos. So let's see if, how does this look? So if you're from up here, so it could maybe even be a bit lower. That's a good view for the bears. So it can be a little bit lower than this, maybe like there. Because yeah, I like the idea that, yeah, that's a better viewing. That way you get a good view from whatever elevation. And let's just remove this. And what wood did I use? I used the Arctic wood, which I never use, which is weird. That's so funny how that works. Because I never use the Arctic wood for anything. Because I don't really like the Arctic pack that much. The Arctic pack is good for polar bears, and that's pretty much it. Even the polar bears are not the prettiest. I just wish the Arctic pack stuff was flexicolor. I think that's the main issue. The Arctic pack would probably get a lot more love if it was flexicolor. It's just the wood as it stands is just bleh. There isn't much to say about it that's, you know, that great. So there we go. So that's slightly better. Just a little bit of theming there. And then I haven't used it in a bit, but let's use my flagstone. This weirdly might look okay. So let's see if I do this. And then deselect it. Yeah, this actually might look kind of okay. Then I can kind of decorate it a little bit along the side, or the top, I mean. So like that, maybe, just to cover the glass. I don't actually hate it all that much. And I could do the hot wire along the side. I guess, what do I want to use to cover up the tops of them? Do I want to use plaster? I wish we had like a 1/2 meter curved wall, just that I could do like a little trim. Because yeah, obviously this isn't super ideal, but kind of works. Just experimenting. I've never used my flagstone in many builds. And stone has kind of a thing that's very similar with their black bear enclosure, which used to be a polar bear enclosure, so that kind of works out a little bit for like what I'm going for. So we'll play around with the idea. Yeah, I actually kind of like that. And then if I can continue the motif to the rest of the fencing. So excited about the conservation. Yeah, the conservation pack's really good. So we are building a American black bear habitat for Ocean State. So I thought it was about time that I actually got back to Ocean State. So we're going to be doing a little building. So do that, do that. And we could probably do this and then turn it. Like so. And kind of do it that way. Because I think it's actually looking okay. And do we still know the update? I think it's something to do with staff because there's spot. So they mentioned something about we're supposed to get a free update that's gonna be like animal vocalizations, which kind of goes in line with the gibbon and stuff. So I assume we're gonna get something related to that. And then I was hoping we'd get brachiation for the orangutan as well. Like also part of the free update, but I'm not sure about that anymore. So, I mean, we'll see. But we don't know for, I assume, I feel like they might start like animal reveals tomorrow. We'll probably maybe get the update notes kind of soonish, but I don't want to say anything definitively because we really don't know. 1 meter. I'm trying to think of like the best way to do this. So I think this I want glass. So there you go. You had a viewing there, main viewing there, kind of an overlook over here. And then that I can just cover up with the flagstone. And then we should be good. Yo, what's up, Dill? How you doing? We're building a bear habitat. So there you go. Okay, that looks pretty nice, actually. Do I want to do that? That could be kind of sick, actually. I kind of want to have a, like, lodge that, like, overlooks the bear enclosure and, like, the hippos, like, from up here. Like, it almost, like, hangs over the cliff, like a cabin. But, I don't know. Because I don't really have much going on back there otherwise. So I don't know. That would be cool though. Until I figure out what exactly I want to do, I think for now I'm just going to keep it kind of basic. But don't be surprised if I do some more elaborate things when it comes to Ocean State. For those good old-fashioned sight lines. I hate bending wood because it just doesn't make a ton of sense, but there we go. Nice good old-fashioned wood viewing area. This song that's playing in the background, is that like, I can't tell, is that like a like animal screaming every time? Like they do, oh, no, oh, no, 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 and then you just hear, like it's like a cow or something. I can't be the only one that hears that, right? Like that's so weird. And it's just this song. There we go. Let's climb up the hill. You have that. So then we'll do this. Which hopefully is good. But I might be ending this stream kind of soon. I'm getting hungry. I want to make lunch. It was never meant to be like a long stream, unfortunately. It was just always kind of gonna be a thing that, you know, I could get a few stream hours in, say hi to you all, that sort of thing. But I think we made good progress. Like, I definitely have the foundations of a bear habitat here. It might not be done, per se, but it's definitely foundationally there. And, yeah, definitely let me know if you guys still want a, I guess, traditional episode breakdown of, like, Discover RI, the Madagascar building, North America, etc. Just to compensate for the lack of speed builds, I guess. Because obviously not everyone's going to watch the live stream. They're going to be like, what the hell? An hour or two or whatever. That's ridiculous. I'm not watching that. But it would at least give people the chance to see what exactly I did in Ocean State. So let's see. So let's do this. Cool. And now I don't like that wood sticking up, so we're gonna raise it. And then, you know what? This is also gonna get raised. I'm gonna do a double up here. There we go. That's looking like a solid enclosure. Like, I could post that on you know, my press room, and no one would care. No one would be like, that's a bad habitat, Nick. How dare you? You did such a bad job. Let's add some rock work. Some quick boulders or something. And then probably just add some basic things down that, like, what's in the exhibit prop pack that I could throw down? None of those are really that good. I should make those flexi-color, actually, in hindsight. Like all of these exhibit rocks and stuff. I should just make them flexi-color. So yeah, nothing really there. Twig, branch, I don't know what they called them. See, these would be so good if they just made it so that you, like, why are they not laying down by default? Why would they be standing upright? It'd be so much better if they just laid on the ground properly. Gonna add a little bit of rocks scattered throughout here. Cause I'll probably end up doing like a whole gravel riverbank like I'd like to do normally. And then leaf-wise, I could probably add some of those. What did I have in the moose habitat? Did I have any fallen leaves? bracken. I could throw some of that in. Like, basically, I just like to be consistent, and, like, if I have a certain kind of plant in one area, I keep it throughout. So, I apparently approved this as a acceptable bush. So we can kind of lay one of those down there and there. Prairie cordgrass. Throw you. You're a little barren over here. The reeds, we can throw a couple of you. Mix you into the cordgrass like your flowers. And just kind of place a couple of little things down like bushes. And there we go. I'd say that's a pretty solid bear habitat. There's nothing, it's nothing special or anything, but that's a thumbnail right there. So yeah, so thank you all for watching today's live stream. I, again, apologize. I haven't been uploading much lately, but, I appreciate all of you swinging by. If you guys would like to support the channel, as always, you guys know by now, I obviously do YouTube channel memberships and stuff, but a thing that I've actually been doing lately, if you guys would like, that I haven't really been promoting too much, but a great way to, literally directly contribute to helping me out, specifically with modding, is my Ko-Fi account. So if you actually go, I have a link in the description of my newest video. Maybe not this live stream, but on my newest video, I have my Ko-Fi account. So this is my Ko-Fi. And originally, we were trying to get the $500 goal for the General Zoo pack. We're basically getting that now, so I might end up converting that. I'll release what I had done, but I don't really think it's worth finishing, I guess, the way I was going to, because we're going to be getting all of that stuff with the conservation pack. So I think instead what I'm probably going to end up doing is going with either the gift shop update and add more billboards, or the new animal update, or the new animal pack update, and add a bunch of like reptiles and stuff so we can get more snakes. But yeah, so with that being said, thank you all for watching me. I very much appreciate it. And check out my newest video if you haven't already. It's out there. It's me going over the pack. But I will see you guys next time. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye, everyone.